Hello and welcome to the Dominion Daily for August 8th, 2026. We've got a full random kingdom today, and we've got no trashing. I mean, there is ritual, which literally says trash in it, but it is not thinning. We do have grotto though, which in some ways can behave quite similarly to trashing, or to thinning at least. For draw, we've got Apothecary, Wishing Well, Marquee, Den of Sin, Daimyo, which isn't draw in itself, but can get draw out of all of those things plus Baker, and Baker and Treasury, I should say. And then First Mate. This does not really look like a board where you're going to get draw out of First Mate, but I don't know, maybe it comes up. For plus actions, just Daimyo and First Mate, neither of which necessarily give plus actions. Although, I mean, there's a lot of non-terminals here. Daimyo and First Mate, if they're able to play multiple of those, will give plus actions. So realistically, you're going to get plus actions out of those. The only terminal card in any case is Marquee. So that's not like a huge deal anyway. Oh, there's also Necropolis. Okay. We have one Dark Ages card and we have Shelters. Sure. And then for gains, we have plus buy from Marquee and from Seaway. The Seaway target is just straightforwardly Wishing Well, if that's something that we want. I guess we might, because playing with a bunch of Marquees doesn't look particularly appealing, because the 10 card hand size limit doesn't look like something we particularly are going to want to have to deal with for like a bunch of different plays of Marquee. Although I will say that spending a 5 gain on Seawaying Wishing Well also doesn't look the most appealing either. Band of Misfits looks very rough. It can't even play Grotto because it has the non-duration clause. So all it can play is Wishing Well. Right. Apothecary can set up Wishing Well. I don't know if it's worth it to get a potion to get Apothecary, but alright, so we've got the Baker token, so we can open with a 5 if we want. I mean, I think we're going to want to open with a Grotto. Do that. We could open with Den of Sin. We could take a potion. Early Apothecary does look reasonable. Thing is, we're going to definitely want to get a second Grotto. So, I mean, the other thing we guess we could do is Seaway Wishing Well right now. And then we've got the plus buy to go like, Grotto Daimyo or something if that's what we want to do. We get Den of Sin. We draw 7 out of 11 cards. Quite likely to find our Grotto. We get to Grotto 4. Get another Grotto. That would be pretty good. That might just be the best line. Like, immediately getting the double Grotto set up. I mean, it's not guaranteed. It's close to 2/3 chance of seeing the Grotto. What happens if we don't see the Grotto? I guess we either get another Den of Sin or possibly, like, the Seaway. I think I do like the Den of Sin line. It was the bot, apparently, but... Oh, we did draw the Grotto. Okay, excellent. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, so now... What? Getting a third Grotto on this board is not unreasonable. We could just take a Wishing Well. And that will, if we find it, help us line up like bigger numbers while also setting aside stuff with Grotto, as will the Den of Sin that we've got coming in this turn. I guess we could also consider getting a silver for that purpose. I think I prefer the Wishing Well, though. Oh, wait. Yeah, we didn't need a Wishing Well, I guess. We get a Marquee. That gives us plus buy. We've got this Necropolis. Doesn't mean we're not getting a Den of Sin this turn. That's probably fine. Okay, so that's the Marquee, and then we've got, unfortunately, 4 differently named cards down there. I guess the ideal case would be Necropolis, so I might as well name that. Yeah. Okay. We do this. Marquee draws 3, and it might fail to get us to 3. How big of a problem is that? We could just Grotto 2 and get like a 5, which probably would be Baker. At this point. Grotto 2 including the Marquee. I mean, we do have the Den of Sin, which offsets the loss of the Grotto draw. Yeah, I think that makes more sense. Okay. That is a copper. We could spend a coffer to keep the necropolis from getting shuffled in. But if we get a Den of Sin, we should be drawing plenty anyway. Don't think we need to do that. Hey. All right. We play both of these. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so we want to play the grotto first. We might as well grotto the necropolis in that case. This is just a copper anyway. Okay, so you could go Baker Daimyo. The main thing that makes Daimyo pay off relative to just Baker is that, well, we can get more buys out if we want to, and we also get more draw out of it. I think that's worthwhile. Daimyo the Baker. I should have played the Wishing Well. Oops. Guess it doesn't matter. That is Overgrown Estate. Should we grotto the Marquee here? I guess we should. And just, do we take another Baker or do we take another Daimyo? I could also see the argument for gold. Like, we overdrew here. It is denser payload. Well, maybe we should play the Marquee. We can buy what we want, and then a Daimyo. Yeah, why not? The Daimyo and copper down there. I guess in the scenario where we have the copper, that's where we want to Not here, it doesn't matter. The last card is Overgrown Estate. That is annoying. Hmm. 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. Yeah, that's the downside of missing the wish. Not really too much we can do about that. I think. Okay, we could just go gold daimyo again. Seems reasonable. Gold is also a reasonable target for ritual if we ever want to do that. Not sure if we will. Right now, it doesn't look like we need a third buy. Part of that is because we keep spending money on daimyos, admittedly, but... I mean, we have the option to daimyo the marquee, of course, in any case, but... Not going for provinces, okay. And we should, if we were going to follow suit, we should... How many coffers did the bot spend on that? 5. Yeah, okay. The bot is not really positioned to continue that. But we could still match? Question mark? 7 and 6. Well, no. I was gonna say we should probably trash the hovel if we're gonna take any green here. Are we going to take any green? Supposing we didn't. Six, 7, 8, 9. We're getting close to capacity on what the marquee can do without additional cards, so that's something to pay attention to. We'd have 11. Gold daimyo would give us would put us at that capacity. We could also do gold Seaway Wishing Well if we want to just have like more buys in a more straightforward manner. How is the... So, ritual is worth 5 points on a gold. You can spend 6 coins to get a gold and then 4 coins to ritual. It is less efficient for scoring, but it does let us build bigger. I think... Yeah, I think we go... I'm thinking Seaway, the Seaway line. The extra buys could definitely come in handy. Without having to daimyo marquee, which is like pretty bad. What? How? What? Well, that's not good. What the hell? Alright, I guess we're gonna have to do ritual stuff. That's fine. It should be fine to just do the daimyo stuff first and then marquee at the end, because we should still be at a point where we're not having to discard at the end. So daimyo, daimyo, baker. Let's see, there's copper down there. Daimyo and a baker down here. We want to see the daimyo. No, wait. Do we have 3 bakers? No, we have 2 bakers. There's a daimyo and what? A copper. Oh, a gold. Okay. Guess I'll wish for the daimyo. Nope. Last card is Vergrana State. Annoyingly. Again. We do have 3 buys now. Well, we're gonna have 4 buys. We just need to grotto 2 coppers. We probably do. Yeah. Eight, 9, 10. All right. So we're not going to ritual 3 times. How many times do we want to do it? Because the other thing, like, if we're gonna, we could front load and just take the golds, like keep building, and then do the ritualing later. Like, if the bot double provinces again, which I guess it can. I am confused by how it had to spend 5 coffers to double province the turn before. I guess it's just not drawing deck. It must be the reason. It didn't play a grotto? Oh, it did. Oh, it played the grotto early in the turn. Okay. Yeah, it could easily just not see its marquee, though. I don't know how likely that is. I guess it's only grottoed 3 cards. It's going to see 8 of its stop cards. Or, well, stop cards plus marquee. And it has some bakers. It's like 17 stop cards. Well, 17 non-baker cards, and it's going to see 8 of them. So it's only about 50-50 to see the marquee. So if the bot only gets 1 province, then we would need triple province plus some rituals. Triple province would put us behind by 2 provinces, and then we would need 3 rituals. That is kind of a lot. Hmm. I mean, for one thing, we don't have the buys for that right now. We could add some wishing wells. We'd also ritual marquee if it came to that. In fact, maybe I should have considered doing that this turn. Hmm. Well, I think I've pretty well convinced myself that I don't want a ritual this turn. So, um, what do we need? What do we want? What do we need? We could take one more marquee, as good of a ritual target as gold. It gives us a little bit more flexibility. We could take one more wishing well to bump up our buy count. I guess the downside of taking another marquee is that if we end up like not trying to like end the game next turn, then the gold is probably better. The problem we're going to run into is the marquee like discarding cards thing. If we take another wishing well, potentially we can just stop caring about that and ritual the marquee. So it could be like double gold wishing well daimyo, maybe. 12, 15, 21. That does put us in a little bit of debt, which is a little unfortunate. This could also just be double gold, double wishing well. Sure, I'll go with that. Oh, it found the marquee all right. Man. It did not play a grotto this time. It did play a Den of Sin, however. What all do we have down here? Some golds. How many golds do we have? 5. We have 3 golds down here. 3 gold, overgrown estate, and wishing well, I guess. Okay. Now we have wishing well gold. Yeah. Oh. 2 coppers and the hovel. Rather see the hovel, but copper's more likely. Okay. Again, the bot should be very unlikely to find its marquee, and it has no coffers. It might not even hit province this coming turn. It is unfortunate to leave Copper Hovel on top, but I think that's just going to be the way of things. Okay. We could buy 4 rituals. That would get us a net of 20 points. We'd still have 6 coffers. No, we wouldn't. We'd spend them all. What am I talking about? We'd have no coffers. We'd have 7 and 6, so 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 coins remaining in our deck. Alternatively, we buy 3 rituals. And save the coffers? Buy another gold? Converting offers to gold. So the if we buy 3 rituals, that's 15 points. The reason to do that is to save the coffers for more reach next turn. 2 provinces on 15 doesn't do. I mean, even on also play 1 more gold and go like double ritual for 8 gold something. Place the marquee, I suppose, as well. We'd even just buy 1 ritual, but that starts to get into like gain limitation issues. We triple ritual this turn and save the coffers. The next turn, assuming we draw everything, which like we didn't this turn, but we have in our deck 7, 9, so 16, 17, 18, 21, 6, 27. Or if we don't play the golds, we have 18. That would be enough for triple ritual and like another gold or something. It wouldn't be enough for triple ritual province, which could be relevant if the bot buys 1 province. If we It's also not great to like leave like a coin unspent. We play one more gold and we go double ritual. That leaves 8 coins. I mean, I guess we could do like Den of Sin silver or something off of that. It's just that we don't have very many points in that line. We do the triple ritual, then the problem is that anything we spend the money on is going to dip into the coffers probably to a greater extent than is helpful. Yeah, we just have an awkward amount of money, I would say. I guess we could do like double ritual gold silver. And then we're only spending 1 coffer. Or maybe it should be double ritual gold wishing well. So what does that look like? Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Find the bakers, unfortunately. Spent the coffers on a duchy, though, which is kind of a weird choice. So is the bot definitely going to find its marquee next turn? No, not. In fact, it's still relatively unlikely to. Oh, it also just shuffled. The marquee is on the bottom set of cards. Maybe that doesn't matter. Maybe there wasn't anything on top. I don't know. All right, we have Necro, we're going to stay 2 copper in the discard. So we should... We have 3 coppers coming up. And we had 5 gold. We trashed 1 and gained 1. So we have 4 gold coming up. So we should wish for gold. Nope. Nope. There it is. All right. 1 more gold down there and overgrown estate. Well, obviously... Oh, wait, not overgrown estate, right? It's... Well, there's a daimyo down there, which it does me no good to see. Okay. So, I'm assuming we can't win. I think that would be exceedingly unlikely. So, do that. No way we're ritualing 5 times. 4 times we could do. That would get us to 30 points. We'd have 1 gold left in our deck. Yeah, I don't think that makes sense. It's kind of similar to last turn. 3 times would cost us 2 coffers. Two times, and we're in a similar situation to before. We go We have 5 coins left. Maybe we get a Den of Sin. Seems reasonable. It could also be correct to spend into the coffers and do like, well, we're at 20 points. We have to assume the bot is. Do we have to assume the bot's going to get a province? Maybe we don't. It played its bakers last turn, has no coffers. Even if it sees the marquee. Did it play a gold? It did. And if it sees the marquee, it might not. It does have 4 cards grottoed. Even if it sees the marquee, it probably hits province because at that point it's getting to see basically the rest of its deck. So it probably sees a couple golds and some copper. Would it possibly hit double province? I guess it's possible, but if it does, then we're just lost. But I think we assume the bot gets the province. It's at 45. We're at 20. Take the last province, we're at 26. We still have a long way to go. That's 4 rituals. The bot might not hit province the following turn, so yeah, I think I'm gonna go Ritual Den. Oh, it didn't see the marquee, but it did hit province. I didn't really account for that possibility. That's not great. All right, what did we discard? Level 2 curses, a copper. So we've got 1 curse down here, 1 copper down here. We had 5 golds, but we trashed 2 more of them. So we have 2 gold down here. Curse, copper, gold, gold. Daimyo, Baker, Overgrown Estate. But still gold that we wish for. Oh, I didn't consider wishing for Wishing Well. All right. Copper's over there. Curse. It's curse, right? Yeah. All right, there's a curse, there's a copper, and there's 2 curses. Okay. So six buys. The maximum number of points we could get, except I don't think it would actually be. Like, we get the province, we're at 26. We get 3 rituals. We're at 41. And then we need double duchy. I don't think there's any way we're doing that. Are we? Surely not. 21 coins? Nah. Alright, so the question is, do we grotto... Yeah, it's really bad that the bot hit province without the marquee. That's yeah, or we're probably just lost here. Yeah, I really think that the bot's deck should have taken at least one more turn to get to the point where it was in terms of just like it wasn't controlled when it was likely to hit things, whatever. But I will say that also it is definitely looking like I tried too hard to build. In any case, as is my want, I suppose. In any case, so we grotto the 4 curses. We know that if we're playing Wishing Wells, we don't have to worry about curses, and then if we can trigger the shuffle, then we know we're wishing for curses. But on the other hand, if we grotto the shelters, then before we trigger the shuffle, we're more likely to make accurate guesses. I think that's more important. So I think we do it like this, except if we buy a victory card, then we should not grotto the hovel. But let's do this to start with. All right, so it would cost us 12 to just ritual all 3 golds. That would get us to 35. And leave us with 9 coins. Alternatively, we could play 1 gold, double ritual. Surely we do trash the hovel here. We gotta dip into the coffers, I think. I didn't consider Ritual Den gives me 4 points. Is that relevant? I mean, probably not, but we buy 4 rituals. That's 19 points. We're at 39, and then we need Province Estate, which is... So that would mean we need 26 coins. We're at 21. So we're 5 coins short doing that. Okay. So yeah, I think... I think we ritual twice. Buy another den. 10 Duchy eats into our coffer reserve pretty heavily. I mean, if we were just going to play to the bot, I mean, if we're playing to the bot not hitting province and the bot hits Duchy, so it's at 48. we get the province, we're at 36. Then we need an additional 13 points, of which we get 8 from ritualing Den's next turn. We need 5 more points. Well, wait. We have another gold, so we would ritual gold double den, and that would be worth. So, gold double den ritualing gets us 8 and 5 points. That's 13, so that would get us to 43. And then the province would get us to 49, and that would be enough points if we can afford all that. That's 3 rituals in a province, which without this gold, we'd have, if we can daimyo all of our bakers, 3, 4, 5, plus this, so that's 12 out of 20 coins. It's also possible the bot gets province, or sorry, duchy estate, I guess. So 12 money to spend in the deck. So we would need to keep like 8 coffers. So if we just stop here and buy Den, we keep 11 coffers. That gives us some room to play with. Okay, I think go back and we do set aside the hovel after all. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Well, that was unexpected. Okay. So we have 6 curses in our deck, of which 2 are in our discard and 4 are in our hands. So we actually have all of our curses. We have 3 coppers left. We have no gold left. So we have 2 daimyos, 3 coppers, 3 wishing wells. Daimyos, 3 coppers, 3 wishing wells. A Den of Sin, and no, we have 1 curse down here. Okay. Okay, so we gotta name Copper. Now it's 50-50 between Wishing Well and Copper. Let's name Wishing Well. No. Okay. There's the Den of Sin. So we have 1 copper, 1 curse, 1 daimyo, and 1 wishing well. what we most want to see is the daimyo, but what we want to get out of the way is, while drawing, is like the copper. So I guess I'll name copper. Okay. And yeah, we might as well do this. This is Verona State or Necropolis. Okay. So, there's no way that ritualing Grotto or any of this other stuff makes sense. So we can do that. And ritual den, ritual gold, by province, and by estate. So we did have enough to get to 50 points. So even if the bot had gotten a duchy, it would have been fine. Obviously, the bot had gotten province, we would not have. Yeah, so in the end, the bot's deck was pretty bad. I think I was. I would guess that I was favored to win the game, like, from somewhere back around the time the bot started scoring, or maybe a little bit before. Like, I don't know. When was the first turn that it... So, like, maybe... That's the first turn it scored. So, like, maybe here, right, buying this last daimyo was a mistake. Because it denied me the option to follow the bot on scoring. And I think if I had, like, done that, I would have been in a better position because I had better deck control. Although I didn't have the Seaway, so I would have had to mark Daimyo Marquee to get extra buys. But, like, perhaps, like, going into this turn or something, like, I think I probably would have been favored. Then after the bot takes 2 provinces here, I'm not sure. I could still see it being the case that I was favored because the bot was, like, not expected to be able to double province again. But then it did. And at that point, I might have been disfavored. Or, like, well, I don't know. Maybe I wasn't disfavored until the bot hit double province again this turn, which maybe it wasn't expected to do. I don't remember exactly when I was tracking, like, okay, where's the marquee? Like, how likely is it to see the marquee? Blah, blah, blah. But, so then, through this section of the game, I think I was, like, legitimately behind. And then by this turn, I don't know. I mean, was the bot expected to hit province there? I wouldn't be surprised. Was it expected to be able to hit province without drawing the marquee? I don't know. Once it did, I feel like I must have been expected to lose. But I don't know. Maybe the bot shuffle was such that this outcome was extremely likely. I don't really know. Like, what did it have? Marquee, 2 copper, and junk. And then it drew copper and junk plus the grotto. And it did shuffle the deck. So it could have... it would have had a really hard time drawing 6 coins there. Because it would have had to draw, like, 2 out of 3 golds across its entire deck. That would have been incredibly unlikely. And it getting a duchy here would not have mattered. So, like... I don't know. Maybe the fact that the bot didn't see the marquee this turn was actually the thing that favored me because it needed to... I don't know. I'm not really sure. I could definitely believe that I overbuilt, that the bot should have won. Like, ritual is definitely not a very efficient way of scoring, because like it only costs 4 coins, but then like if you're doing something like ritualing a gold, like that effectively costs you 7 coins. And you need to have stuff in your deck. Like if you're buying provinces, you don't need to have stuff in your deck to turn into the provinces. But if you're buying ritual, you need to have stuff that you can ritual. So you also need, it's like, you know, effectively you bought a gold and then you bought ritual. So you could also look at it, if you don't look at it in terms of the 3 coins of the gold, you can look at it as 10 coins and 2 buys for 5 VP. Yeah, which is not very efficient, like I said. In fact, it's less efficient than buying duchies, with the caveat that like it's more card efficient. But and it lowers different pile, which can matter. Anyway, yeah. So I could, like I said, I could believe that I should have lost this game. I could believe that my approach was incorrect. I could also just believe it was like a poor tactical choice on my part to go into debt that 1 additional turn. But I could also believe that the bot was high rolling for a while, and that actually it shouldn't have been as close of a game as it was. I'm not really sure. The bot played with 1 Den of Sin. Like basically the only reason its deck was like functional was the 2 grottos, and it shouldn't have really been expected to get those set up every turn either. I don't know at what points it did or did not, but that I guess would be another thing to look at. So it did, like me, it did open Den into playing grotto, so, and getting other grotto. So like from early on, it was set up. Resolve grotto, play grotto. Resolve grotto, play grotto. Resolve grotto, play grotto. Weird that you would do that before playing bakers, but okay. Yeah, and at this point, the bot hasn't added any of those like stop cards to its deck, so it's not. It was no more expected to fail to draw than I was, except for that I did get an additional Den of Sin. Then I did get a gold. It's still grottoing, although it's also grottoing like 4 coppers. It's not like really what you want, and I think does demonstrate that it had less draw than I did. Again, it plays grotto before baker, which is weird. Or I guess. Yeah, and one of the things to note about grotto, one of the reasons it's relatively easier to find the grotto, the other grotto, is because like you're discarding cards that you set aside with the previous grotto, and then the grotto that you have in play, and then your other grotto is not going to be in the discard pile from the previous turn. So like, so long as you trigger to shuffle, so then you know that you're going to find your grotto within the first, however many cards before you have to trigger a shuffle. So even if you're not drawing all the way through, even if you're not getting back around to the cards that you set aside with the grotto, you still are going to find your grotto before you have to go through all of your junk. Part of the reason that grotto is so good. Anyway, so yeah, the first turn that it double province, it did get the grotto set up. Second turn, yeah, it seems like it was top decking the grottos an awful lot though, because it was like playing grotto before baker all the time for whatever reason. This turn, however, so this turn, the last double province turn, is where the bot did not get a grotto. going. And so that's it did get the den. But yeah, this is where its deck basically ceases to function. It did get both of its grottos set up here. What was it? Gold 2 Bakers, Grotto Province. So then it draws the other grotto and a copper. Plays the 2 Bakers, gets copper to Necro. Then grottos, Province, Necro, 2 copper on 2 separate grottos. Yeah, that... Does that make sense? Rather than just grottoing it all under 1 grotto? Like, you didn't need the copper to hit Duchy. Wait, but it could have saved the coffers. No, that doesn't make sense. At the very least, should have grottoed Province, Necro, Copper, Grotto, and saved a coffer. I mean, I guess it didn't matter, and maybe... No, it... This wasn't the turn where it only hit 3. Yeah, no, this is weird. Although, wait, did it trigger a shuffle? No. Yeah, I don't know. This is weird to me. The bot does stuff like this sometimes with Grotto. It's confusing. Like, arguably the bot should, if the bot was going to do this, it shouldn't have even, it just should have not bought the Duchy at all. Like, it should have saved the coffers for, like, its win condition was to empty the province pile. And it should have saved the coffers for that. But it could have, I mean, it could also just grotted 3 cards and saved both coffers. Yeah, it's just weird. Well, anyway, I think I've gathered about as much information as I can out of this. I still remain a little uncertain about what the expected outcome would be and what the right approach is. I do think, maybe zooming out a little bit, I do think something that I didn't like really clearly identify up front is that the limitation here is payload. The like Daimyo Baker is okay payload. Gold is okay payload, but neither of them are particularly efficient to add to your deck. So yeah, it's just that's the thing that makes the board awkward and why you can't necessarily build super big, but Ritual does provide some additional, like an additional source of VP to help overcome that. But I think that's, yeah, I think that's something I underappreciated. I guess I was expecting, I don't know, I was expecting to get more daimyos. But I mean, I guess the problem is that at the point where you're drawing your deck, then Daimyo versus Baker doesn't really do much different. Daimyo is specifically good because, like, when you're Daimyoing a Baker, it's also draw. If you don't need the draw, then it's not actually adding payload beyond what Baker is offering. And if you start adding the golds, then you start needing to draw again. The gold is still more payload. Yeah, I don't know. It's a little awkward for sure. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.